Under the class object folder, open CMD. Code space dot, you can press enter. Okay, so hope you created the folder called class object. You can create a folder class object. In class object folder, open CMD as well as open the VS Code. Open CMD and open the VS Code. We'll come to the VS Code editor. First, we'll get some idea how to create a class in JavaScript and how to run that. After getting a small idea, we will come on to the, we'll make some small notes about the terms of the classes, what is class, what is object, how it work, what is constructor. Those notes will make a small notes. So let's go here under the class object folder, create a file class1.js. Class1.js. Class will start with the keyword called class. Class name, suppose test. Inside the test class, we have to write the functions. You can use simple function also. You can use the fat arrow function also. Simple function will not start with the function keyword. Fat arrow method will also not start with the function keyword. Directly we can start with the function only. So it will be like this: about console.log about user. Next, contact console.log user contact details. Next, one more function I will write: service console.log available services. So these three functions we wrote inside a class. Test is the class name. It has three functions: about, contact, and service. When we come down, we cannot access about, contact, and service function. We have to create a object of this current class. We have to create an instance. We have to create a copy of the current class. And then with the help of that object, we can access the function of the classes. Direct, it will not allow to access the function of the class, member function of the class. So we are creating an object of the class using new keyword. So something like this: constant object1 equal to new class name called test. Okay, now with the help of object, we can call any class from the class, any function from the class, whether about, contact, and service, anything. So we can write here object1 dot about, object1 dot contact, object1 dot service. So three: about, contact, and service become a member function of test class. Okay, next let me come to the CMD, and from CMD we can run node space class 1, enter. It should say all three functions are working. So simple function you created without any input and output. After that, we created the object of the class. Right, hope it is working. Now come inside the class. Will create the object of, not will create the object of, object is already created. We will create the constructor inside and will play around some variables. So next go ahead and inside the class we want to do some input and output. For that we require the global variable. So inside the class, how to create the global variable? For that we have to use here a life cycle function of JavaScript that is called constructor. This constructor function will help you. It execute first. Whenever you run this page, first your constructor is going to execute. Whenever you run this page, first constructor is going to execute. Now when the first constructor will execute, we can utilize the constructor, and along with constructor we can execute our classes, our maybe variable declaration, variable assignment, and some other stuff we can use when the constructor get executed by default. So for that, let's go here inside the constructor, and inside the JavaScript class, if you want to create a global variable that can be accessed by all the function, and you can say the member variable also. You can call it a global variable or you can call it a member variable. Those variable can be created through the this operator inside the class. This dot, see, it's suggesting about contact service and test. Why? Because when I have written object one, then also the suggestion was coming. Here also we wrote this dot, as soon as we press, suggestion started coming. So this represent the object of current class. This represent the object of current class. So with the help of object of current class, we are creating a variable called this dot name equal to maybe Ganesh. Then this dot mobile number. This dot service. Service. Services as an array. PC repair. EV repair. Now for this customer, 3 services he has taken. So instead of creating 3 times, we created an array. Inside the array, the value will be stored, and that value we can access by position of the class. Now we can come under the this dot about user. We can write here again this dot, not this dot directly, console dot log, the full name, this dot name, this dot name. Next, after that, contact details, console dot log, mobile number, this dot mobile number, this dot mobile. Same way, we can come to the service, taken services. We have the array, this dot services dot map, name of the service as well as index of the service, position of the service, console dot log, index plus 1, comma, name of the service. So the name mobile services become as a member variable. About contact service become as a member function. And collection of your member variable and member function become as a class. Right? Save now. We can run again in the browser. Hope written. Come to the CMD again. Run from here. About user, name is Ganesh. User contact details, mobile number particular. Taken services, AC repair, TV repair, bike repair. Right. Please check once. Hope it's working. Now we can make one small note of this. Constructor single line definition. How we can say what is the class, what is the constructor, what is the function, what is the member function, what is the member variable, okay? Object, what is the object? Single line definition here. Okay, so you can make a note somewhere. First, write about a class. How we can define a class? Based on implementation which we have done now, the implementation we have done now, based on that, a class is collections of member functions and member variables. Here in this class, we can see here from top to bottom, we have a constructor where we have defined the variable. We have different kind of function. The variable we have defined under the constructor, those variable we are using directly inside the function. Variable was defined under the constructor, but you are using under the function about contact and service. Constructor is a different function, about contact service is a different function, but still variable are able to access throughout the class. Why? Because we have used not the var keyword here, we have used this keyword. Using the this keyword, your class, your variable will become as a global variable throughout the class. Anywhere you can access easily and you can call inside the class also, outside of the class also. So here we can write one small line. We wrote a class is collection of member functions and member variable. Collection of member function and member variables. Those variable you have created using the this operator will be called as a member variable. Those function you have written inside the class, that is called as a member functions. Now the function and variable will work together. The function and variable will work together. Right, so we can go here. We can write the next line. Member variable, or maybe you can say member function. First write about member function only. You can write here all the user defined functions, all the user defined functions inside a class, all the user defined function inside a class is called member function. Come below the next line, member variable. The variables defined inside constructor using this operator called member variable. Come down next. So what are the member functions we have? About is a member function. Contact is a member function. Service is a member function. What are the member variable we have? Name is a member variable. Where is a member variable? Services is a member variable. Next line will write for constructor. Constructor. Okay. Constructor, what is the use of that? You can write. This is life cycle function. This is life cycle method of JavaScript. This is life cycle method of JavaScript, class and object. Life cycle function of JavaScript. What is the use of that? It execute as soon as object of class get created. So run this file, whenever you will run this file, first your object will get created. Once the class will execute, this function will call. Once the class will execute, this function will call. Once class will execute, this function will call about contact service. Okay, about contact service function will call. But before calling the function, object of the class is required. Without object, this function will not call. And here question is when the constructor will execute. So the constructor will execute at the first stage as soon as this class get instantiated. So here object is getting created at the same time first the constructor will execute. Constructor will get execute as soon as the class object get created. Same line we wrote here. It is the life cycle method of JavaScript. That meaning it is a predefined function and it execute as soon as the object of class get created. What it will do inside? Since you can see here, this function will be called later. First, what will happen? First, constructor will execute. So why can't we utilize the constructor? Because constructor is going to execute automatically without calling, and when it will execute as soon as you create the object. When you call the class, automatically the object will get created, and then as soon as the object get created, the constructor will execute first. So now we can utilize at this point, if constructor is getting executed automatically, then under the constructor we can define the variables, we can define the array, we can assign the value, the initial value. We can create the variable, global variable, and after creating the global variable, we can assign in that some initial value that required throughout the project on page load. In case you don't want to assign an initial value, no problem, you can leave it. Just to create the variable, and after creation of the variable, you can come down and then you can use that variable easily. So we'll come down again here under the constructor part. It used to create, assign, create variable, array, comma, assign values to variable and array, assign the default value values to variable and array. Inside constructor, you can do the API call also. That will require on page load. Next, you can write one more line. Object of a class. What is the object of a class? It is an object of current class. It is the object of a class. Object is instance of class. You can write. Instance meaning is also same like the copy. It is instance of a class. Instance of a class. Copy of a class. Okay. Now a class is going to hold the variable and function. Variable is required to take the input and give the output. Function is required to process the data, whichever is coming under the variable. Constructor is required. Constructor is required to set up the variable, initialize the variable, assign with the initial value, assign with the default value. Object creation will happen. Object will help. It will become a copy of your class. With the help of that copy of the class, you can call your variable and function directly. You don't have to create the static class. Directly object create, and based on the object, you can call the class functions of the class easily, as we called object one dot contact, about, service, and other. Now, based on this structure, we require to take some input from the HTML, do the process through the JavaScript class, and again return back the output to the browser. That will be our next example, combination of HTML and JavaScript together. Next, go ahead, create the next file, class2.html, class2.js. Two files you can create. One file will be as HTML and one file will be as a JavaScript. Create two files, class2.html and class2.js. We'll come to the HTML file. Under the HTML file, We can call that file HTML. It will be there. Here you can follow the script src equal to class2.js. We can follow the body tag. Inside the body tag, let's keep a button. H1 javascript class object. Create a button. Service list. One more button. User list. One more button. City list. Okay. On click, you will call here object 2 dot service. Same way, we can call here division id equal to container. Now go to the file class2.js file. This file we can run directly. This HTML file we can run directly. Buttons will appear. Now button click, data has to come from the class file. So let me know once we done the HTML part, we'll go to the JavaScript part. It's a different file. I will share you this code in your chat also. Then come to the JS file. Write a class, my data, export default. So export default, why I am writing here. Constant object2 equal to new, name of the class, my data. You can write inside a constructor again. Create a variable. This dot service list equal to website development, logo designing, e-commerce portal, come down. We can write a function called service function. This service function variable data equal to h2 our services. Now you can use a map function here. This dot service list dot for each also we can use name of the service, index of service, data plus equal to, open the p tab, name, close the p tab, you can write their index plus finally once the loop is over we can send the data to container. Document dot get element by id container dot inner html equal to same data. Okay, hope ready. Come now, run your HTML file. Click on service list. Something wrong.
Sir, I have taken OBJ object 1. We create object 2.
Object 2 I have taken. Here object 2 is there. Object 1 we have used.
The object.
Now it should work. Yeah, services listing here. This is coming from that class file. Instead of object 1, you can change to object 2. Okay, working or error. Similar way, we can write two more function, user list and city list inside the class file, class2.js. Create two more array. This dot user list equal to this dot city list. User list Alex name Nadia. City list Bangalore, Mumbai. So we have to write the function called city, and we have to write the function called user. Inside the city, you will follow the same way what we follow for the service. Function what we have called here, city and user. Okay. User list, you can write a heading here. User list. User list for each. Name and index is okay. City for each. Oh, this is the city function we are taking from user. So we can take from the this we can give call user. This we can keep call city list. City list dot for each again. Because this all are single dimensional array, it will be okay, it will work easily. Let us check now. When we click on user, city list, user list, service list. This is coming from your class file. The class file is holding the data in constructor. Functions are reading the data from the constructor and displaying inside the browser directly. We can add the new value also. We can delete the value also. Everything is possible. Let's check once. It's running, not running. We will learn some more like how to add the new value inside the class. How to add the new value, how to delete the value from. but tomorrow, not today. We'll see you tomorrow again. We'll learn about tomorrow is a Saturday. Tomorrow we have bootstrap class as usual in the morning. Tomorrow we'll sit for the bootstrap class 8 o'clock. And again next class we'll sit on today is Friday, correct? Friday only. Okay.
Can you just show on HTML file, class2.html?
HTML file is here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I will send you both the file, all three files, and download it.
Actually, I'm getting one error in class1.js where we had created a new object, right? Class object 1 equals new test. That
Mhm.
in is equal to place, it is showing error.
Where?
Where we are creating object, right? Down class object 1 is equal to new test.
Here, this line.
Yeah, in the place of is equal to, it is showing red, like something error.
New. Have you
Expected
used the
some
new
base.
operator? New you have used here.
Yes,
Send that line in the
yes.
chat. You can send that line in the
I
chat.
have not connected through laptop. I have connected through. Can I send a screenshot in the
Yeah,
group?
you can send.
Yeah, thank you. 1 minute.
Send a screenshot of entire page.
Entire page, okay. Yeah, sent. At line 28 on the place of equals. When I click on that, it is showing some flower brace. Expected this.
You have written class equal to object one. It should be const. const. Line number 28,
Yes.
class replaced by const.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. I didn't check with that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, then we can log out. See you tomorrow.